quiet wealth. It all kicks off with a feeling that's probably a little too familiar. The moment your eyes open, before you even get out of bed, your brain is already spinning, running the numbers, the bills, the plans, what's left over. It's just this constant, low-level hum of financial anxiety. And then, of course, you pick up your phone, and that feeling just gets stronger. You see someone else's highlight reel, that new car, the incredible vacation. They just seem to have it all figured out. And as you scroll by, pretending it doesn't get to you, there's that little voice, right? That feeling that you're somehow being left behind. So what do? You start that little negotiation with yourself, the one you've probably had 1,000 times. Okay, that's it. I'm going to get serious about this soon. But soon is such a magic word, isn't it? It feels like a plan, but really it's just pushing real action to a tomorrow that never quite shows up. And this is how you get trapped in what we're calling the cycle of soon. It's that quiet, nagging frustration of feeling like you're always busy, always moving, but never actually getting anywhere. You're just stuck. And what does this cycle feel like? Well, it's like your life is on autopilot. Those little purchases you make just to get a quick hit of feeling good, yeah, they start to add up. You try to be disciplined, you really do, but then life happens, it always does, and the whole plan just falls apart, again. Pretty soon, every day starts to look the same, and you get this sinking feeling that time is just slipping away, moving way faster than you are. So, when you're stuck in this loop, what's the first thing you do? You blame yourself, right? You think, I'm lazy, or I just don't have enough willpower. But here's a thought. What if the real obstacle isn't some flaw inside of you? What if the real enemy is actually something you actively look for every day? Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. We think the enemy is failure, so we play it safe to avoid it. But the real enemy? It's comfort. We think the problem is laziness, but what it really is distraction that's cleverly disguised as rest. We're not being reckless. We're just falling for a delay that sounds so perfectly reasonable in the moment. And what we think is stability is often just a routine that's keeping us exactly where we are. So look, the big takeaway here is that you're not broken. This isn't about you being lazy or flawed. You don't choose comfort because you lack ambition. You choose it because you're just plain exhausted. You're tired of trying and feeling like you're just spinning your wheels with nothing to show for it. It's a choice that comes from burnout, not laziness. Okay, so if comfort is the real trap, how in the world do we get out of it? Well, it starts by stopping the search for some magic bullet or quick fix. We have to start building a totally new foundation, and that means shifting our focus away from something fleeting, like motivation, to something much more powerful, our identity. And that brings us to this core idea we're exploring today, quiet wealth. Think of it as a state of financial stability that isn't built on big, loud, flashy wins. It's not about daily motivation. It's built on the small, quiet, consistent decisions that come from a deep commitment to an identity. It's less about what you do and way more about who you decide to be. So where does this happen? Where do you build this? Well, I'll tell you where it's not. It's not in the spotlight. It's built in the boring, everyday moments. It's in the decisions you make that you'll never post online. It's in the restraint that nobody is ever going to clap for. It's walking away from something you could technically afford because you're playing a much longer game. It's all built when no one is watching. This all comes down to one really powerful idea. Wealth follows identity. I mean, think about it. Your financial situation today, it's just a lagging indicator, a report card for the person you've been up until now. So if you want to change the result, you have to first change the identity that's creating it. So how do you actually do that? It starts by changing the fundamental question you ask yourself every single day. The old question, the one that keeps us stuck, is always based on emotion. What do I feel like doing right now? The new question is totally different. It's based on identity. What does the future version of me do right now? Just pause on that for a second. What does the future version of me do right now? That person in the future, the one who's financially stable, calm, confident, what choice would they make in this exact moment? See what that question does? It yanks you out of your emotional, impulsive brain and puts you squarely into your intentional, future-focused brain. And look, let's be real. This isn't about waking up every single morning feeling super inspired and ready to go. Inspiration comes and goes, right? It's not reliable. The people who actually pull this off, who build this quiet wealth, they don't rely on feeling good. They're just committed. They feel committed to the identity of the person they are becoming. All right, let's make this really actionable. So how do we actually start building that future self?
It all comes down to adopting a practical mindset that's designed to fuel these small, quiet, consistent actions.
First things first, we have to totally reframe what discipline even means. A lot of us see it as punishment, as this awful, restrictive thing. But in this new way of thinking, discipline is actually the highest form of self-respect. It's you, right now, taking care of the you in the future.
So here's what that new process looks like. It's really just 4 simple steps. 1, the next time you feel an impulse, just stop. Don't react, create a little bit of space. 2, in that space, ask the big question, what would my future self do? 3, then you act on that answer, not on your first impulse. And 4, and this is the big one, every single time you do this, you keep a promise to yourself. And that is how you build the bedrock of self-trust.
Most of us think, if I just had more money, I'd finally be free. But what if that whole equation is backward? True freedom doesn't start with more money. It starts with more control. First, control over your attention, then your habits, and then your patience. The money, that's just the result of having that internal control in the first place.
So when you boil it all down, this whole thing isn't really a question of whether you can do this. Of course you can. The real question is, are you willing to? Are you willing to do the quiet, unglamorous work when no one is watching and no one is cheering you on? And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with, because tomorrow is coming. It always does. The only question is, what's it going to look like for you? Is it finally going to be different? Or is it just going to be another repeat of today, stuck in that same old cycle of soon? The choice, as always, is entirely yours.